Well, over the years, it feels like we've got to know almost everything there is to know about the personally and politically unmistakable Pauline Hanson. Except maybe one thing. Why the heck would she want to get back into politics, this time chasing a seat in the relative obscurity of the New South Wales upper house? After all, the dirty game of politics has seen her branded a racist and thrown in jail. So is Miss Hanson a glutton for punishment, or maybe just a slow learner? I asked her that, among other things, when she joined me earlier here in the studio. Why have you gone from one nation, if I could put it that way, to one state? And why an obscure and almost irrelevant upper house in the New South Wales Parliament? Well,
for One Nation, let's put it... I haven't been with One Nation since 2002.
True.
I've actually had a tilt at the New South Wales upper house in 2003. Just narrowly, by 3,000 votes. No, I polled the fifth highest out of the whole lot.
The miss is as good as a mile.
Well, that's because the preferences, George.
Right. But this time you're with a group of independents.
And there's no preferences from the political parties.
Right. Why would you want to have another go at politics, having failed once before in New South Wales, having had such an awful experience in politics, ended up in jail as a result of it? Been called a racist, whether you like it or not.
Because I'm a fighter, George, and because I'm a fighter, I don't intend just to give up and walk away. You know, what's the whole point of sitting around the dining room table or kitchen table or the barbecue and raise these issues and talk about it? No one gets out and does anything. You have no idea how disgruntled the public are with both the Labor Party and the Liberal Party.
At the federal level? No. As well as New South Wales?
At state. And I spoke to a fellow the other day, he's voted Labor for 60 years, and he said, I am not voting Labor again.
So are you part of the People's Revolt we keep hearing about that's emerging?
Well, if the People's Revolt is applying for a seat in Parliament, well then, yes, I'm going for the People's Revolt.
Well, I'm still a bit flummoxed to know how you could possibly believe you could have an impact. Well, if you got up, for instance, with your 4.2...
Oh, so do you agree that, OK, we'll only give seats to what? The Liberal and Labor and Greens?
No, not at all, not at all. I'm just wondering what real effect you can have other than have a forum, if you like, to say what you think, but nothing more. Whether it's Barry O'Farrell who gets up in New South Wales or Christine Keneally who gets up in New South Wales, and that's highly unlikely.
And what if it ends up with the balance of power in the Senate?
You believe in the upper house, you mean?
I'm in the upper house,
yes. Not the Senate, the upper house.
Yes, that is the upper house. A lot of people who call it the Senate or the Legislative Council.
Right.
So what is wrong with that? What is more important is to actually be able to raise issues on the floor of Parliament. Look, and support other independents, or maybe even support the government of the day or the opposition on issues they want to do in legislation.
Are you across Christine Keneally and Barry O'Farrell's policies, and do you have any of your own? What would you say is the major plank in your platform?
Well, I think...
Other than I want to be in Parliament because I want to have a place to speak and speak my mind.
I think against privatisation.
Right.
You know, there's other
things.
Things. What I'd like to actually research and thinking about is separation of powers of the police force and not come under the police minister.
You're not just making it up as you go along?
No.
That's a serious question. I mean, it doesn't sound to me like
George,
state politics has been your bag.
George, there are a lot of things that I have actually raised over the years, and both the major political parties have picked up a lot of my policies and a lot of the issues that I have actually raised.
In New South Wales, at the state level?
Well, mainly federal, but there are...
You can see why people are surprised. It's not the sort of thing we would have expected you to do.
OK, the hospitals. I have always said part of my policy platform was give the money to the hospitals, let their own administrations handle it. Get it out of the hands of the government, because I think the money will be well spent if it's given to the hospital boards.
Yeah, I know I've raised the old Pauline a lot. That's because this sounds like a completely new Pauline, but it's hard to believe that that's the case.
You know,
and the one thing that seemed to drive you is no longer an opportunity for you in the New South Wales Parliament.
We're actually talking about how long ago? 1996 I did my maiden speech when I first came into Parliament. You know, a lot of water's gone underneath the bridge, George, and I think that I'm a little bit older. Hopefully a little bit wiser. Yes, I do. And I think it's important to actually have someone... OK, I answer you this. You know where you stand with me on a lot of issues, don't you? I don't beat around the bush.
No.
So who do you want on the floor of Parliament? Do you want someone who's actually going to be truthful and honest, or do you want someone who lies through their teeth, or someone...
Who are you talking about?
I'm not talking about anyone in particular. This is the general...
Not the other redhead.
This is a general feeling, consensus from the public. And the whole fact is,
do you agree with the people who are calling Julia Gillard a liar?
I didn't say Julia Gillard.
Oh.
right? They're sick of
But do you agree
politicians
with that?
giving promises and pulling back on it, right? A promise is a promise and it's your word, and that's what you do.
If you don't get up in the New South Wales upper house, with or without the old Pauline, is that it for you politically? Would that be it?
I'm not going to say A or nay to that question. There was a very famous politician, what I've been told, and it's only what I received, and he stood 27 times before he actually got where he wanted to get.
You're after a world record.
Don't be facetious.
I'm just
Okay.
joking. But
It is my right. That's why we live in the country that we do, is that it's a person's right to actually have a go. And I'm a fighter.
true.
I'm not going to just walk
That's
away
true.
with the tail between my legs, George.
you know I would never disagree with you about that. Good talking to you.
Thanks, George.